Hello everyone and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program, where last time we had a disaster. We had our most expensive failure to date, with the candy exploding on liftoff thanks to colliding stations, and that set us back a little bit. Still got our goal to try and get to Eve and return and hopefully orbit Eve, but we're going to need to make some adjustments and we're going to need to keep our fingers crossed because now we're suddenly getting a bit low on money. I also want to pick up... the next hire is so expensive I might not send extra scientist Kerbals on this one. Okay, so our design suffered major problems, one of which was a complete lack of control. I'm going to address that here. One, by putting a big reaction wheel on the main stage. Even with that, the rest does still fit in the shroud, so I don't have to make any adjustments there. And I'm going to do the same on the booster stage. So that should give us some roll and yaw authority. And then our other problem was these stages re-collided with the center mass and started destroying things, which gave us really an uncontrollable spin. So we're going to start whacking on separatrons. These are nice cheap little things, tiny little engines, and they just give our rockets a little bit of a boost so that we can boost away from the core stages. I'm just whacking these on the top and the bottom of the solid boosters, and then also on the large liquid fuel stages for the exact same reason. Okay, well this is going to take almost all of our remaining cash to launch this thing, so we've really got to hope that this works out. Check the staging, everything looks good. I'm going to do a different orbital insertion. I'm just going to go straight up until all of our various stages are deployed. That way we can hopefully avoid spinning out of control. So it's not going to be the most efficient launch. We really just need to try and get this thing into space one way or the other. I am really sorry, everyone. I screwed up. I screwed up big time. I didn't actually record the launch of this goddamn thing. I'll have to look at the recording of when that recording stopped. I don't know when that happened. But to catch you up, we managed to get this bloody thing in orbit, simplified the design rather significantly to just bolt smaller solid stages onto the side so they weren't going to collide as they came off. And we just did a launch, managed to get just into orbit on that stage. This has completely miscalculated the burn time of the intercept, so that's a little bit awkward. Oh, that's because I'm not burning towards the intercept, damn it. So yeah, we did get into orbit in the end, believe me or not. Well, just have to try and get this intercept a bit nicer, because I screwed up. So yeah, apologies everyone for that. Not the first time I've forgotten to record something. Certainly won't be the last. But anyway, we're in orbit, we've got intercept course plotted, so we're going to try and dock these two things together. Yeah, got a mid-course adjustment orbit, puts us within 1 kilometer of the target. Really should have put RCS on this stage, with hindsight. Would have been a really good use of resources. Never mind. I think I did remember that right at the end of last week. But I've forgotten it in the meantime, so joy. I'm glad that I added the stability reaction control wheels on this stage, otherwise this would just be a nightmare to try and deal with. We're currently set for a 300 meter intercept. Yeah, there we go, we are now alongside the target. It's going to turn this vessel to point towards the other one, which is easier said than done without decent control authority over anything. Okay, I am now pointing at the other stage. This, though, does thankfully have RCS thrusters. For some reason I can't set that as my target, which is really annoying. Just going to tab over and tab back. I'm just going to save this and reload because it's being a bit weird. Go down to the tracking station, see if that works. If not, I'll quit right out and reload because I should be able to set targets. There we go. Okay, double clicking still works, but the right click menu is broken. Fine. Alright, now I can hop over, control from that port, point this massive ship towards the other one. Yeah, I don't know if these solar panels are going to get in the way, so I'm retracting them for safety for the docking. I really don't want to lose all of this right now. Okay, nicely coming together. CS off. Okay, initial docking failed. There we go. We are linked together. Somehow. Okay. This insane ship that we've put together is actually here. I'm going to shut down that engine. It's not needed anymore. So we've got 6,000 delta V, according to this. So that's way more than enough. Solar panels are all extended. Everything's looking good. Still got loads of monopropellant. So yeah, I'd say that's pretty successful so far. Let's see if I can take some science to put in the science bay. I don't know if it's going to transmit correctly, but let's see. Might need a crewman in it, so I'm going to move the scientist over. So it's Luton, transfer. Okay, yeah, now that there's someone in there, I can transfer data into the science module. So I can just do a bunch of science for the sole reason of sticking everything into the science module, because then on the very long trip over, we can get some extra science done. Cool. Now they can start researching. Meanwhile, I'm going to see if I can get an orbit of Eve. Okay, got a total of 1,000 delta V burn, so we can definitely manage that. 10 years time, so it'll take a while. Another 1,000 delta V to circularize at the other end. Okay, 1 year, 27 days. I think it seemed to be predicting something else, but anyway, this is apparently a maneuver. And it does say it's going to be on an Eve intercept, so, well, let's believe it. And now we just advance time. Okay, so after a hell of a lot of time warping later, nearly 2 years worth, we arrive here, see a nice eclipse of the sun, just in time for us to begin our 6-minute burn. Starting at low thrust, just to make sure all the correct engines are on. They are, so let's burn it. Nicely enough, I now have the maneuver node command. During that time, I managed to research 300 science. I'm just going to transmit that while we're on our way. Well, if nothing else, this is quite a pretty rocket to look at while all the engines are burning. Overly long, it's all there, and nicely it's not wibbling about, which is something I was worried with. Used to have problems with the coupling ports, that they were made out of elastic, but they do indeed seem to have managed to fix that, so thank you Coconut for pointing that out to me. That saved me some effort in putting this together. Okay, we missed the inset slightly. I'm just going to put in a mid-course adjustment. Okay, got a nice little mid-course adjustment here. Puts us nice and close to the planet. But there we go. We have officially put our station in solar orbit. So that's 300,000. That is very nice. That almost pays for the launch. Luton's going to do some EVA. Now, I've already got all of the EVA things from here, but this means I can get some extra science going in the science thing for our journey to the place. And they can start working away at research. We're doing our adjustment burn. Excellent. We've got an intercept. Going to do another adjustment when we're a little bit closer. Okay, so my adjusted orbit comes in just outside of the atmosphere, so we can hopefully get low space info on it. 100 days to that adjustment, so just gonna slide over to it and then time accelerate. There we go. Eve's atmosphere is at 90 kilometers, so we're 10k above it. That will count as a low orbit. And it is, in fact, only going to take us about 500 delta V to break. Isn't bad at all. Just want to get it so we're technically circularized, because we're going to be moving around a lot to get an intercept on Gilly. There we go, we've got a 2-minute burn. And just before we accelerate towards that, I'm going to get Luton to do another EVA just to reset the experiments. So that way, if I'm in a bit of a hurry while we're doing the braking maneuver, I can still grab those low orbit scans. Alright, transmit the science while we're here. It's another 300. And start the research again. We're only 18 days away from our intercept, so let's see if we can actually circularize this time. Okay. So we had some little jiggery with the time warping, and so it's adjusted our orbit a tiny bit, so we're not technically in low orbit. That's fine, we can adjust it, do another loop, come back, it's no problem at all. Does mean we're nicely above the atmosphere, so I don't have to worry about over-braking during this burn. There we go. We have achieved orbit of Eve. This is low. The only problem is I can't work out where I put the barometric scanner in all of this lot. May have forgotten to bring it. Yeah, I think I may have forgot to stick one on. Oh no, there it is. It's just really clipping in an awkward place, so I can't see it. That's fine. Got the rest of it all working fine. But one thing that we can do is launch the lander stage, the probe. Get decoupled. Fortunately, I apparently don't have rating here. I don't have a connection. Because we're in the shadow of Kerbin. Okay, that's fine. There we go, now we have access. It's fine. Got a course adjustment on the main stage, puts us 40 kilometers from Gilly. We do have a bit of an uneven mass distribution for this burn, but I don't think it should matter percentage-wise. It's a very, very small lump. I would like to keep this on, because I'd like to put this one around Moho itself. Here we go, we've got our intercept. It's in 19 days. Probe, meanwhile, is going to be reaching its target at 9 days. And I actually have sufficient delta V to completely circularize with this stage. So that is looking good for the landing. Except for the problem that I've lost communication again. Which I'm a bit confused about, because this should be a relay antenna. Should be able to get the signal off this, and this should have line of sight to probe. Don't understand why it's gone to 0 control over this thing. I mean, now I am blind. I'll go back to the main ship. I'll get this one in a Moho orbit and see how we do that. Oh, Gilly, I keep calling this Moho, it's Gilly. There you go, this time I just need a 300 delta V burn. Okay, now around Moho, let's see if we can put ourselves in orbit. There we go, orbit of Moho. Yeah, I don't know why this isn't getting a relay link to our ship, because there should be nothing blocking line of sight between them. They should be getting a relay link. They're just not. I may just have to wait a while until the actual planets are close enough together to get a signal to that one. Well, now that we're in orbit, we can decouple this segment. Activate its engine. And try and put this into a polar orbit. It should be a nice polar orbit. There we go, did orbital survey mission of Gilly. Nice. So if we ever want to mine on Gilly, we now know where we need to land. Yeah, so this signal's quite happy to bounce through that relay. I think I'm going to leave this stage out here and just go down with the orbital stage. Okay, all crew are in the orbital stage. Undock. Let's be in the purple. And because it's Gilly, just using the thrusters there has significantly changed our orbit, but it's all fine. EVA Science while still very slowly going down. Extending solar arrays just so we don't have to worry about power. The engine stage is bouncing around down there. Still 70 meters to go. Yeah, this is really more like docking than landing when it's Gilly. Use thrusters to get us a little bit more firmly on the surface. And we are kind of sort of landed. Let's say that's landed. Luton's going to go out, reset the experiments. Need to be careful because bumping this could cause there to be 1 or 2 problems. While Luton's out here, may as well do some science. There we go. We're at the Highlands. Okay, I think hitting golf ball from here is going to send it on an escape velocity. Okay, well, our engineer can then come out. Whoops. And on Gilly, a single step makes you do this. And I don't have an EVA pack, so I can't stop him doing this. Hope she doesn't have orbital velocity. Yeah, this was an unexpected hazard, but okay. She's not going to go into orbit, so that's fine. Accidentally flying in. This is exhausting. So I need to get her to exactly where she needs to stand, then swap out the EVA things. She can't have an EVA pack and the deployable. I think part of the problem is she does a little animation when getting the wrench out, and that is what's catapulting her. Oh god, and this is a single step downhill. Yeah, it's just an animation error that's doing it. Never mind, I'll just have to be very careful. It's just a pity you can't have the EVA pack and have that on, otherwise this would be no problem. Right, if I do half steps, it doesn't go through the full step animation, and I can hopefully get close enough. On the safe side, I'm aiming straight at the ship, so if I jump, I should bounce off the ship. Yeah, it's first power core up. For some reason it's not letting me place this. Okay, it can go there. I think that should be sufficient power. Alright, sciencey part. Okay, so these are really, really bugged on Gilly. They take so long to drop to the ground that it thinks you've not put them on the ground. Okay, got that one down. Same thing happened here. Yay. So that's 6 power. That's all working. No, got that. And away I go. And I'm going to crash into stuff again. Oh, walking backwards doesn't help. And every time I do this, I get flung half a kilometre away. Okay, got that one down. There goes the ED monitor. Cool, and finally the ionographer. Okay, all the experiments loaded up. We do have a comm signal. Everything's connected, everything should be good. Before I forget, I'm going to do all of the research here. And I can collect all the data. I'm just going to get Luton to pop out. Okay, one change I'm going to try and make when I get back to base is I want to put the goo module on the ladder side so that it's easier to reset. I'm just doing a repeat of all the experiments so we can load up the science module when we redock to have plenty to do on the way back. Hopefully getting into this is rather easy. Can just jetpack up. Okay, and we've got 2000 Delta V. We knew it'd be overkilling it for Gilly. That's absolutely fine. It means we can do a nice simple rendezvous. I'm going to take off and head west, which conveniently is the direction we're half pointing. And I'm going to see if I can take off just with RCS thrusters, just to avoid damaging these since I put them so close to the ship, mostly because it's really awkward to try and get around. Okay, easily taking off with RCS thrusters alone. Here can come up. Okay, well then 100 meters intersect distance there. And just dock back up, and then we can start the long journey home. Okay, got 38 meter intersect, that'll do. Okay, now just to dock these two things together. Okay, one bounce, and then docked. Good. Okay, the ship is reassembled. Transfer Luton to the mobile processing lab, and I can begin sticking data in. Okay, it's pretty full of data right now, so that's fine. I'll level up crew if we can. Yep, everyone is now level 4. So that means we can research even faster, getting 7 science a day out of this will help on the way back. Yeah, and I need to shut down that engine since I don't need it anymore. We're going back to all nuclear engines. Then should just be a tiny burn to get us a escape of Gilly. There we go. Okay, and we've still got 3000 Delta V. Should be plenty to get back home. I'm just going to see if we can get into a position where we can do the transmission for this thing. Problem is the communications on the probes are relatively weak. I'm just going to spend about 100 Delta V just to get us nice and close to the probe, so that hopefully we can communicate with it at least in one window. We are going to need to have an actual permanent probe out here, and I'll need to do that for future missions, have a proper big relay probe around, because this really isn't cutting it. I've got about 500 kilometers, hopefully that will be enough. I really don't understand why we haven't got a relay signal here. I'm communicating with that probe all the way over there, but not this one right here. I really don't understand that. We are really close in space. Would have thought we'd at least get some signal, but apparently not. Okay, so that probe's just not going to do anything. Don't understand it, but whatever. Not going to waste any more time on that mission. We're just going to go home. Yeah, so let me know in the comments what I'm doing wrong. I seem to be getting fine signals from other things, just not from that probe. No idea why. Never mind. I'm now just going to burn prograde, get us out of this orbit, and then work out how to get back to Kurden. Oh, during all of that, maxed out the science, so let us transmit what we have. There we go, now continuing with our research. And max it out again, so I can transmit what we've got. I restored the data. I forgot to actually pick up the extra data there. So we might not have enough data to analyze all the way back, but we'll get a fair amount. And unfortunately, even when we've got direct line of sight to Kerbin and the planet is as close as possible to Kerbin, I still have no communication. This probe, I don't know what's wrong with it. Oh shit, I know what's wrong with it. I forgot to put solar panels on this probe. It's out of battery. God damn it. Oh, all of that trying to work out. The power wasn't on. Okay, fine. My bad. Okay, wee bit embarrassing. But lesson learned. Righty-ho, righty-ho. Transmit another chunk of science. Loaded up the lab with all the new science. Here you go. And beginning our 900 Delta V burn to return to Kerbin. Yeah, I don't think it's correctly calculated that again. And I really don't know what this orbital calculator's meant to do, because it's just calculated the orbit, created a maneuver that doesn't work. At least nowhere near on this orbit. There we go, I've manually calculated one. Gonna take 2 years to get there. I think I'm just gonna ignore this orbit calculator. It just is so hit and miss. And you can see visually this orbit that I've done is not the correct one. I shouldn't be burning when I'm ahead, I should be burning when I'm behind, because I'm on the inner circle, so I get there faster. So, I don't know what's up, I may just be using it incorrectly. Yeah, and unfortunately, that's cost me a lot of Delta V having to redo this maneuver. So now I just have to hope I've got enough to make it back and stop in time. Yeah, I don't think I've got much Delta V left at all. That is really annoying. I'm almost completely out of all of my liquid fuel. I can't get an accurate Delta V number. Maybe able to fix it here. So I do have some Delta V in this stage. And the issue is that the pipe connecting them is a one-way pipe, but I can route that the other way, or I can try to. I don't know if that is counting as connected. Yeah, that gives me 500. Now we're talking about thousands here to circularize. Yeah, but it's only 26 to slow us down there. We may need to burn the candy stage to save the other stage because of that screw up with the maneuver node. But that's not the end of the world. I might have just enough to save this. This might actually work. Not sure if I can deorbit the lander stage, but we may just need to come back and do that. Do a rescue mission to refuel everything, get that lander stage back. We can certainly do that. Saving the space stage would be really useful. And there's Kerbin. Right, so once again, fingers crossed. And burn. Perfect. Actually managed to circularize. So what I'm going to do is go back to our apoapsis, reduce the periapsis a little bit, undock, and then boost the stage back up. Leave the space stage in this very eccentric orbit, and just hope that the air brake is enough to bleed off the speed on the other stage. Okay, let's try that. 37. Okay, can transmit the science that we've got left, then transfer Luton back to the space stage, the return stage, and we can undock. Could have probably just deorbited with RCS thrusters actually. There we go, and there is this stage back in orbit. Going to need to be refueled if we're to use it again, but it's done its job for now. We actually have a tiny bit of delta V, so if I reverse this again, so we've got a tiny bit of oxidizer now in that stage. I'm going to decouple that since that's just added weight at this point, and it's going to burn off the rest of the monopropellant. So we are coming in rather fast, not impossibly fast. Retract solar panels are probably going to burn off anyway. Retract the antenna, it's probably going to burn off anyway. Okay, we are now entering the atmosphere, almost out of monopropellant, then we'll stage. Actually, the staging's on the other side. I do not know what happened there. Something failed to disconnect. Okay, we're in trouble. The stages failed to disconnect. I can only hope the whole thing's not going to explode. The engine is really overheating there, it's really not happy. I can break it off by jettisoning the heat shield. That's not really what I want to do here, because we want the heat shield. Just have to hope if this bottom engine stage explodes that the heat shield survives. Okay, something exploded, I don't know what. Something else went. Heat is beginning to bleed down. We are now climbing. This may not actually be the end of the world. If we can get back up into space, I might be able to manually send an engineer out to cut off everything off the bottom. Don't know if I can do that, but we can give it a go. If nothing else, the second entry should be a lot smoother, a lot slower. Okay, explosions were the space state, the solar panels breaking off. That is not an issue. Alright, Jane's going out. I don't seem to be able to detach the fuel tank. Guessing the fuel tank is just too large to detach. Well, we shed some components if nothing else. Here we are now re-entering. It's starting to tumble. But we're exiting heat effect now. Excellent. Exiting Mach effect. There we go, nice and slow. There we go, one hell of a run, but we are back in one piece. Yay! So the things we brought back with us is worth 3,000 science, but because we've been uploading science and getting other things, we now have nearly 9,000 all in all. Absolutely fantastic there. Got back 14,000 worth of the parts. Not much considering the expense of the launch, but it's something. And all of our crew are now level 4. So we got that mission for getting the orbital station, got Explore Eve complete, whole load of new world first milestones, including Orbit of Eve, Spacewalk of Eve, we orbited Gilly, landed on Gilly, it also counted as a station around Gilly, and we did a docking maneuver there, and got a bunch of science. Okay, so our next mission is to enter the atmosphere of Eve, and we've got enough research to unlock most of what's left on the tree, so that's all pretty exciting. Just before we finish, I'll just show you, because I don't know what got lost in the recording. So this was the final state of the candy, the one that we managed to get to work there. So I just bolted on the solid boosters directly onto the side. All of these have separatrons, and they came off really quite neatly, doing asparagus staging, so 2 came off at a time, didn't hit each other, didn't hit the main stage. Nice and easy, a little bit simplified, and a bit cheaper than the original design. But I think that is certainly enough for today. So if you enjoyed this one, please do leave a like and or a comment. Really does help audience engagement with these videos. And otherwise, I hope I will catch you in the next one. Until then, remember to be kind to yourself and everyone else. Cheers!